All right. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Again, welcome to today's boot camp. If you're new to the boot camp process, just a quick little overview and reminder, Best Homes has a boot camp every Tuesday at 11 a.m. with the exception of our meeting week. So the second Tuesday of each week, Best Homes has a meeting for the brokerage. It's on Zoom. It's about an hour long. So those are the weeks we don't, and or if it's a holiday week, such as like Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those fun ones. But overall, essentially in the boot camp, it's a 12-week crash course of a particular pillar or subject that's going to help boost your real estate career. So we've kind of followed it the best we can in a chronological order where you can really dive into that particular pillar or the subject that is designed to enhance your business. Another kind of side note is if you go into besthomesacademy.com, we do have a lot of pre-recorded on-demand workshops that we have visited in regards to these. What's great about this is that it gives you kind of a starting point, subject for the week. We have and we will assign some challenges or homework assignments, and goal is for you to kind of send them my way that we'll revisit at the end of each Zoom call. So just wanted to kind of pull up the calendar. If you missed any of the ones in the beginning, we will be revisiting them over towards the end of the boot camp. So just know this is a revolving boot camp. So if you just started this week, if you're a brand new agent, we're currently on week 4. However, the other ones we have pre-recorded, and or of course goal is for you to eventually get all the way up to the one. It's kind of the same concept as a crash course. I personally did a 9-day crash course when I got my real estate license. So it was kind of inspired by that in that particular subject. But we do have a 12-day crash course in the academy. All of these have been pre-recorded in the academy. So if you're wanting to get this done like now, or just get a preview of what it's about, you can do that in Best Homes Academy. So this week and today is about branding. So we have Tristan Horn, our Best Homes digital marketing specialist. For anyone who doesn't know what Tristan's role is within the company, he helps define your brand, help refine your marketing message, and create scalable lead generating strategies with you as a partner agent, as an entrepreneur agent, as a team lead, name it, he helps with those. So today's concept and today's boot camp is going to be all about your branding. So he does have a branding guide that he's going to kind of revisit and view. One thing for sure I would do is take notes and get it done today. It's one of those challenges where if you wait weeks or days, or if you're anything like me, sometimes you wait for that inspirational moment. It could sometimes be unforgettable when that's going to come. So he's going to really dive into, one, the importance of it, 2, how it's going to really help you send the message to your potential buyers and sellers. So out of all these workshops, it's one of the ones that you really have to hone in on so you can scale your business. And this is for all agents. Even if you've been doing this for a few months, a few years, you have to revisit this subject and this pillar constantly, or at least quarterly, or I'm sorry, at least once a year, so that you can really revisit what your brand is. And hopefully at the end of this week, you'll all be able to answer this question, and that will be the homework assignment for today. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because he's going to share his, but that is the plan for today. All right, so Tristan, if you don't mind kind of introducing yourself and getting this party started.
Yeah, good morning, guys. My name's Tristan. Like Melissa said, I'm the digital marketing specialist here. And I'm super excited to be showing you guys this because, like she said, I'm the digital marketing specialist here. I think branding is one of the most important things. If you guys want to, scale at a very fast level, and you want to do that, you're going to have to use social media. And if you don't have a brand, or you don't really know who you are as an agent and have your pillars down, it's going to be very hard. You're going to be in a constant wheel. You're not going to be actually able to, have a set plan, have a strategy in place, and really put yourself in front of the people that you ideally want to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me know when you guys can see my screen, the defining your personal brand.
Yes.
Yes, awesome. All right, so who here feels like they have their brand figured out? Or who here, if not that, what is a brand? Melissa, what do you think a brand is? Anybody?
Well, it's definitely a cool and loaded question. I'm gonna mute you for a second so I don't echo. I mean, in my opinion, when you think brand, you're thinking of like store brands, of course, but as an agent, as a business, it's just kind of showcasing my value proposition if you kind of dive into it. But essentially, it's kind of a representation of what kind of services I provide to my potential clients.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's basically going to be like your perception on how people see you. And I'm going to go over that in the presentation. But a question that you guys all need to be asking yourselves, and it's actually in the guide, is if your friends right now were all having coffee, or someone in your area, they were having coffee and they were to see you right now, who do they perceive you as right now? Are you that go-to agent? Are you the, let's say you're a mom, you want to advertise that, or do they know that you're a great mom, a real estate agent, and maybe that you like to hike? And that's really the goal when it comes to this stuff, is when you walk into a room or your name is brought up, you want it to be specific things that people can actually like see you as. So this message is huge, and defining your personal brand is a very important thing. So I put this house here because I really feel like building your brand is a lot like building a house. So you have your foundations in place, and you also need to make sure, in order to have that full brand, that the foundations are in place. So what we're going to go over today in the Build Your Brand guide is the actual pillars that need to be put in place in order to develop this brand and have a long-lasting brand, so you fully know exactly what to be posting and how to be perceived as the go-to agent in your market. So the personal branding breakdown. So branding is important because it's the most powerful and influential way to attract people to your business. It allows people to enter into your world and create a business relationship with you before actually needing your service. So I know a lot of people, when when you're building your brand and you're getting stuff out there, you might at first be like, wow, no one's reaching out to me. I've been posting videos for 3 months now. I've been posting my content, and it can be, very discouraging. But you need to really think about it when it comes to social media. And the whole point of this branding concept is so that over time, people, they might not need to buy or sell right now, but when the time comes, you have put your brand so much in front of them, and it is in their head that when they do need any of those services, they are going to reach out to you. Or they like so much of what you're posting right now that they feel like they trust you. So let's say their friend needs to buy or sell a home, they're going to tell them, hey, I know someone who would be great for that. So the next thing is, what is your personal brand? So everyone needs to know that everyone has a brand, but it needs to resonate with your audience. Now, I've noticed a lot with people on like Facebook, you need to shift. There's 3 things. You got to know who you're talking to at the moment. You need to know like the kind of content and who you actually want to talk to. So let's say, you just moved here from like out of state or from a different city. You need to make sure you're resonating with your audience. So let's say we're posting content right now. If let's say someone was moving from like the East Coast or something, your content should be based on relocating to Phoenix, or what it's like in Phoenix, or the 5 different things that you've experienced since moving to Phoenix, Arizona. So you need to start thinking of your content, shifting it a little bit, and really figuring out who you're talking to. The next thing is figuring out why people like you. So you need to start thinking of the hobbies that you guys do. You guys need to start thinking about, what you want to be known for, and start putting out content like that as well. And then the last thing is your desired audience. So maybe you eventually want to work with sellers in a specific neighborhood. Maybe you want to just be the go-to agent in a specific community, but you guys also need to be doing content that is speaking to those people as well. And even though those people aren't on your page right now, you're still going to be building that and attracting those people to your page as time goes on. So just remember with your brand that this is your reputation and the long-term thought people will have of you. When your name is brought up, what is going to be the first thing that comes to their mind? So, another thing too that I threw in here is the headshot. If you guys do not have a professional headshot, that is the first impression that everyone's going to have of you on social media. So, if it's low quality, they're going to have that already psychologically in their head. And you need to make sure that you have the same headshot on everything, but also that it's very professional, because you guys want to be seen as the authority when it comes to your real estate business. And it's going to be a very important thing with that. The next thing is it's going to show the way you communicate, the way you act, and the way you present yourself and the things you are most interested in. So does anyone have any questions so far about, the personal branding breakdown? All right. So here's a few more things when it comes to, building your personal brand. So the first thing that you want to make sure you do is differentiate yourself. So really think about it when you guys see a lot of people on social media. Every single real estate agent shows that they buy and sell homes. They do not work with you guys because you buy and sell homes. They work with you guys because they know you, like you, and trust you, and you happen to buy and sell homes as well. So really start thinking about the stuff that really differentiates you from all of the other agents. Now, this doesn't have to be more experience. This doesn't have to be like more knowledge in real estate. This is going to be how you differentiate yourself as a person. So does anyone want to give any examples on how you differentiate yourself as a real estate agent?
I would say a lot of people will look at your personality and see if you guys have similar personalities, then your transaction would go smooth.
Absolutely. And so with social media, that's actually a great point, Eddie. So what is the best way to show your personality on social media?
Videos.
Exactly. Yes. So that's why we push videos so much on social media, because it is the best way to actually express who you are as a person, how you speak, how you are in person, and it's very important. Anything else?
For me, this is Sandy. For me, my target audience is becoming the military, for people who are PCSing. And I put myself in there because I am a prior military spouse. So I think having that experience differentiates me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that is a great one. So are you currently posting any like content that shows that, you're helping people with that, or any events or anything as of that right now?
Yes, I'm trying to put that on my Facebook on the agent side. I have two Facebooks, one for my professional and then one for my personal. So I'm trying to put it more on my realtor Facebook side, and then I share it over to my personal to try and get more coverage.
Awesome. Yeah, no, yeah, I always recommend that, no matter what you're posting, you're doing everything exactly right with that. You're already differentiating yourself. But if you guys have a personal page and you guys have, a professional page, you guys need to be posting the same content on both of them. I think, you're not always going to be posting like buy or sell with me. So it shouldn't be a problem if you're posting it on your personal page. So if you guys, once we're done with this too, when you guys see the different pillars, these need to be, cross-streamed everywhere. This should be going on your Facebook personal page, and it should be going on your Facebook business page. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So the next thing that I want to cover is relevancy. So you want to make sure that you're connecting with people on a level that is relevant to them. So a lot of times, if let's say that you have a lot of like younger people who haven't possibly bought a home yet, and let's say that you are talking and you have to know your market, who's following you. So let's say you're posting just a bunch of seller videos. You're not really being relevant to your market. Or like Sandy said, she's doing a lot of stuff with the military. If she knows that she's, has a lot of military people on her profiles, she needs to make sure that she's posting relevant content like she is and speaking to those people. The next thing is lead with value. Do not be the salesy real estate agent. As you guys know, you guys probably see it when you see people putting, I just sold this, I'm doing this, me. It really pushes people back to wanting to work with you guys on social media, and you guys are actually doing yourselves a disservice. So what I always say is lead with value. If you're gonna talk about real estate, give information, give helpful tips. And then if you're talking about selling or buying, helping someone buy, make it about them. Celebrate their success in getting into their new home, or celebrate the success of someone selling their home and how much they were able to benefit from, maybe you got it 20,000 over asking, or you sold it within a few days, it was on the market. But make sure that you make it about them. The next thing is very personal. Very personal. People need to feel like they know you from your content, and they should feel like they already know you, even if they haven't met you already. So that's why it's so important to be posting consistently. That's why it's important to do at least one video a week. And that is why we want to stay away from just the real estate content, but making sure that we're posting about our lifestyle. I don't know if any of you guys have posted, but if you go on a trip, people will actually, when they see you in person, ask you about the trip. Like they were kind of like either knew you went, or they felt like they were there already and they were excited about it. Maybe wanted to ask you more questions, but it's because you let them into your world. And because you do that, they feel very personal with you guys. Another thing is being remembered. So you guys need to make sure that your brand is so strong that you are at the top of the mind at all times. So, when we go into the branding stuff, when you have your content going and everything, people will remember that you're a real estate agent. You just need to get them to remember you when they think of real estate. So the next thing is the core values. So you need to make sure you are very clear on what you do and don't believe in with your social media. Another thing is to be true to yourself. Authenticity is key when it comes to this. If you are acting, if you're trying to put on a persona and, trying to act like someone that you're not, people can sense that, and it'll really push people away. If you guys ever see any videos of someone really not acting like themselves, it makes you not really trust them as much. And the whole point of social media is to get people to trust us as fast as possible with our content. So this doesn't mean that you have to be fully transparent and share everything about yourself, but you have to have your goal in mind when it comes to your brand at all times. So, every time that you're posting any content, really think about your brand. Think about if this is who you want to be known as, how you want to be perceived, and ask yourself if this makes you more of a likable person, if this makes you more of an authority, and questions like that. The next thing is persuasiveness. Your brand should make it aware that you are the agent to help them. If they need an agent to buy or sell, and you need to make sure that you are the best agent for that. So the way that we do that is things like agent tips, sharing stories not agent tips, buyer and seller tips, and then making sure that you're sharing the stories of other people that you've helped buy and sell homes. What did you help them overcome? Because most of the time we'll start to realize that a lot of these people are in very similar situations, whether it's, the urgency of why they're buying and selling, their financial situation. So if you guys give them a similar story that they can read and, maybe, relate to, this is going to start, becoming more persuasive for them. And if they didn't believe they could buy or sell right now due to their circumstances, and you're the one who starts persuading them, they're going to gravitate towards you. The next thing is your target audience. Really start having in mind your target audience and your market. And this is the third pillar that I was talking about, and that's making sure that you're speaking to them. So you already have your audience that you're speaking to. You're already showing them, through your posting and stuff, that you're a trusted agent, because you're sharing all the successes of your buyers and sellers. you're giving buyer and seller tips, but you're also posting content that would speak to your ideal target audience. The next thing is your service. Your service is everything. So serve your clients well and they will serve you. And what I mean by this is referrals. So the more and more that you make people happy, even though, maybe they already bought and sold with you on social media, this can lead to referrals. And this is actually how I've heard a lot of agents, a lot of agents that I even work with social media, they get a lot of their business based off of referrals from their content being put out there. It's usually not, hey, can you help me buy and sell? It's usually a, hey, like maybe a past buyer and seller. And they're like, hey, can you help my friend out? They're moving here. They're looking to relocate and they need a really good agent. And I would love for you to, to work with them. So does anyone have any questions before I go into the Build Your Brand guide? All right. So I know I've gone over this with a couple of the agents on this call already, and you guys might have this, if you're in like the Lead Gen Accelerator program, or, if you've been on the past videos, but this is something that you should always be revisiting anyways. And you guys also should be making sure that you're updating, and, it's going to change over time. Your business will shift. Maybe right now your ideal audience is first-time home buyers, and then eventually it's going to be luxury, luxury listings. So you're always going to want to be touching this, on like a monthly basis, making sure that you're on the right track to define your brand and build that established brand that you want to be perceived as. So I'll give you guys all a copy of this so you don't have to write down all of the questions. But what I ask you guys right now is to really start thinking about these things. So that way, when you guys are filling this out, you'll have a lot more clarity and you will have a good idea of what you will be putting onto this. So the first thing is your brand building blocks. So start asking yourself these questions. Who are you as a person? How would your closest friends describe you? What makes you you? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? What are you passionate about? And what topics could you talk about for hours and hours? And I think that last one is actually a really good one because some of us don't know really what some of our strengths are with our brand. But let's say someone came to you and, maybe you get really excited when people want to buy their first home. Or maybe you get really excited when someone wants to start talking about investment properties, or maybe, short-term rentals. But these are all things you guys can help people with. And if you can talk about it for hours and hours, you guys need to start realizing that that needs to be one of your brand building blocks. So does anyone have any examples? I'm going to go ahead and select someone if no one has anything. But what is something that you guys can talk about for hours with real estate? Noah?
I'll say something. Some of the things you can talk about hours with, especially with a lot of new clients, is the market fluctuation, about how the interest rates going up and down, and what everyone always tends to ask, hey, where do you see it going in 6 months? Hey, where do you see it going in 12 months, 24 months? Something you could really go on about hours and hours and hours, because there's so many factors on, neighborhood to neighborhood case basis.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe sometimes, people will even ask about like specific locations and stuff. So that is something that if you are passionate about that and you like talking about that, or you feel like you can talk about it for a while, make sure that you're posting that stuff consistently. And, that way when, in the future, when someone's looking at the market or someone asks them about the market, they'll be like, oh, I know someone who can help me with that. They can refer to your page. They can go watch your videos, see your content. So yeah, that's a great one. Anybody else?
Sorry,
go ahead.
I'll continue.
No, go ahead.
Another personal one for me is the investing side of real estate, because I did post a lot when I flipped houses, wholesale houses, more so the flipping aspect, because a lot of people want to jump into it, but they don't really know much. So I don't know. I've gotten my hands dirty in almost every single one of my flips. I've been very hands-on in all of them. So that's one thing I could talk about for hours. And I always get questions and DMs and calls about how to do a flips, where they should start, how to list, how to buy, contractors here left and right.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's literally one of the best examples. And I love that you're already doing that. You have done that because are you posting stuff like that currently on social media, or maybe like investment tips or anything to help?
No, not yet. I kind of took everything down that I had because I want to restart. I just haven't, I guess, gotten to that yet and focused on other things like listings and helping my buyers. So I do want to get into that pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, no, yeah, we'll definitely sit down because I think that's a great, that's a great pillar to have. And like you said, I've even know a lot of agents here, they like talking about investments. And so since they do that so much online, they're attracting more of the investors to their page because they're giving investor advice. So love that. So the next thing that there is your brand mission. So there's two things when it comes to your brand mission. You need to know your current situation. So what business are you in currently? And, list all of the different streams that you see like most of your clients coming from. If you haven't worked with anyone yet, that's perfectly fine. But if you have an idea, start writing these things down. So, maybe it's first time home buyers that you're working with right now, or it's people, selling a home for the first time. What is bringing you the most revenue, or what's building up your pipeline the most? The next thing is your desired situation. So what do you want your highest revenue stream to actually be? And how do you want it to be different from your current situation? So, maybe this is you wanting to eventually work with, investors, or maybe this is you wanting to work with luxury listings in the future. But, you need to make sure that you have in mind exactly what your desired situation is. The next thing is your brand target audience. So what problems do you solve and for who? To what question are you the answer? So what is the number one priority problem you want to solve? So start writing those things down, start thinking about that, because this is very important to who you're going to be speaking to. And the next thing is your brand statement. So how can you describe the above in one simple short sentence? So once you guys have filled all of these out, you're going to be able to start creating, when your brand statement. And this is going to be important for your Facebook page. This should be this should be the 2-line sentence when people click on your profile, your business profile, your Instagram page. This is going to help a lot with, people really getting to know the direction on how you can help them immediately when they click on your profile. So I put some examples below. So, you can do, I partner with upsizing families in Phoenix to make moving on an effortless process, helping people in Phoenix sell their home at the highest price, helping people buy or sell a house in Phoenix and Glendale. Another one is helping people find their first home or real estate investment in the Phoenix area. Another one could be helping homeowners in Phoenix seamlessly move from one home to the next. So as you guys can see, these are all very short, but you guys should all have a brand statement and kind of have a good idea of, like, let's say someone asks you how, what you do for a living. You want to be able to tell them more than you're just a real estate agent. You want to be able to tell them, oh, I partner with upsizing families in Phoenix to make a moving and effortless process. So, you start putting that perception in their head and you're starting to speak to those specific people. Does anyone have a brand statement already that they'd like to share with people to help them get an idea?
I've been playing with one, but I'm not sure. It's what is it? It is military relocation specialist dash oh gosh, what was it? Real estate with integrity, because integrity is like a military term. So I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so you definitely could use something like that and just put it into like a short sentence. And the thing that I like about that is, once people hop on your profile and they see that the little 2 lines in your bio, that's what they're going to see immediately. And your content's already speaking to them, and they're going to just feel like they're in the right place. So yeah, I think that's a great one.
Okay, I will run with it. Thanks, Tristan.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing is the brand vision. So what do you want to be known from? How do you want people to remember you? What do you want to bring forward about yourself in addition to being a real estate agent? So what do you want? And also, what do you want people to associate you with? So this is more of, this is kind of getting an idea of who you are and figuring out how you want to be perceived as an agent moving forward with your social media. So here's an example. I want people to see me as an intelligent, smart real estate agent that goes above and beyond for his clients. I want people to know that I'm very knowledgeable about the real estate market and growing wealth through real estate investing. And I'm also a man of family and love to golf. So that's a little example of a brand vision. And it's very important to have that in place because this kind of shifts, what kind of content you're going to be putting out. So for instance, this example, they're talking about, investments on their social media. They're talking about golfing. They're talking about their family. And they're also giving a lot of advice for, buying real estate because he's sharing that he wants to be very knowledgeable. Now, the next thing is your brand core messaging pillars. So you guys need to start thinking about what are the 3 key things that you want to communicate to your audience. So what topics or messages do you want to and need to continuously bring forward in your content to effectively communicate your brand vision? So, going off of that one, the example up there, that's where it starts saying, okay, I need to start, maybe giving more advice in real estate in general. The next, maybe another pillar is real estate investing, because that's where I desire to be. And then another thing needs to be personal life. So, family and golf, because that's what was in the brand vision. So I just kind of gave an example here, but 60% could be, about your client successes. Obviously not saying that you just bought or you just sold, but your client successes, your buyer tips, your seller tips, and you can really emphasize on that. And then your other stuff can be on, your desired outcomes. So start talking about real estate investing, start letting people know that you're credible for that so that they start gravitating towards you. And then the last thing would be your personal life. So, this could be, start posting, making sure that you're posting a couple photos a week on family. Or if you want part of your brand to be golfing, make sure that you're implementing that into your weekly stuff. So if you have any hobbies, if it's hiking, yoga, going to the gym, you need to make sure that you're also putting those things into your social media, posting strategy. So does anyone have any questions about the core messaging pillars? All right, so this is the last thing. And the 7th thing is the brand persona. So really start thinking of what are your core personality traits that you can show in your brand and how do you want people to perceive you. So, really start writing these things down because this is going to be important when you guys start doing your videos. This is going to be important to the kind of content that you guys are putting out and ultimately how you want to be seen as a real estate agent. So like, we have an agent in the office, the Dapper Realtor. He wants to be seen as, someone who's well put together, professional. And then we have some agents who are even want to go like the more casual and, so, all their content is kind of based around that stuff. They're making sure that, their images that they're posting are matching that specific brand and that they are making sure that they're getting perceived that way. And the last thing is your brand story. So a lot of people, when they, I feel like a lot of people forget when you first, are getting your brand out there, people want to get to know you first. And the best way to get to know you is sharing more about yourself. So, maybe you can do a background story. You can talk about what the reason why you got into real estate, or, maybe the reason you're living in Phoenix. You can start sharing stuff like that. So some of the questions is what made you get into real estate in the first place? How did you even get started in it? What are some obstacles that you face? And then fast forward to today and, look at your situation now. So like, and you also can look at things as what motivates you as a realtor. So just really think about these kinds of things, because this will make your posting a lot easier, telling more about yourself, getting your name out there. And when you do it in this kind of style for the brand story, you're not constantly saying, I'm a real estate agent, call me. You're not being repetitive about that. You're telling your story. And everyone has a story, and everyone loves hearing stories rather than, being pitched to for services. So this is the Build Your Brand Guide. I will make sure that we get this out to everyone after, so you guys can start filling it out. But does anyone have any questions regarding defining your brand?
So how often, like what's a good starting point? So today I'm going to fill this out. I got, I wrote down my thoughts and what my goals are on this sheet. So what would be the next natural step to take? As minor as you think it is, like changing that sentence to my first post, to reigniting what I offer. But what would be a good starting point?
So I think the first thing that you need to do once you actually have like filled this out is start going through your profile and like just skim through it and see if this is speaking as what you want this sheet, what this sheet represents. And if it doesn't, honestly, get rid of it, because, everything that people see when they're going across your profiles, when they're seeing your content, and, they're probably going to click on it, and they're probably going to go through it. You're not being perceived as your ideal brand. So start cleaning it up. You can archive stuff, remove certain things, but make sure that it fits your brand and make sure that it's not about you. So that'd be the first thing that I do. So, make sure that you check everything that you've done already, make sure that it fits your personal brand. The second thing is start updating stuff. So, make sure you have your brand statement on your profiles, and just make sure that it's like on your Instagram bio, and you guys can still add stuff under it, but you need to have that message out there. I don't want you guys to think that it only can be that, but, make sure you have that in place. Make sure it's on your Facebook personal profile. Make sure that it's on, your business one as well. So there is some, I'm trying to think, who's a good one. If you guys go take a look too, I know Raul Henriquez. He's an agent who believes in this stuff very heavily. He created his branding statement, so you can go check out his stuff. Great profiles to look at too, is Eric Brown is one of them. So that example that I kind of used in there was kind of based off of what he kind of goes as his personal brand. So you guys can see as well. So he's the Dapper Realtor. If you guys want to look him up on social media, that's kind of how, when you scroll through his stuff, you see that type of brand. So yeah, so I would go over that. So I would review your past stuff, update your current stuff, the brand statements. And then the next thing is I would start figuring out your core pillars. So figure out exactly what your core pillars are, and then make sure after that you're strategically finding stuff to post throughout the week, at least, 1 to 2 posts per each pillar to get those going out there. So, start scheduling those out, mix them around. Don't do them all at once. You want to be able to touch each pillar randomly throughout the week so it doesn't look so repetitive. But once you've done that, you're already on track to defining your brand, creating your brand. And yeah, I would start with those 3 things.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Justin. I mean, one thing we want to kind of keep in mind about Build Your Brand is we hear it so much, we see it. There's tons of people who advertise, hire me and I'll help you, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's very one thing. It's almost like a resume. This is why people are going to hire you. So you are showcasing this through your social media. If you are new to social media, if you don't like social media, if you're not really sure where to start, I would highly suggest booking a free consultation with Tristan so that in turn he can kind of give you a stepping stone. But you have to really go into all of these 8, it's really just 8 questions, and breaking it down and starting somewhere, because a lot of the times this is one of those things where we just overlook it or spend too much time doing it. There is a thing of spending way too much time figuring things out and losing that time. But in this sense, this is going to be what's attracting clients to you, why you should get hired. And it's also a lot of the times we hire people because we like them, or we sign up for something because we like the salesperson, or whatever the case is. But the word like comes out a lot, even if you find yourself in other categories of real estate. I kind of really like, I connect with this person. The best, one of the examples that was brought up today was Miss Sandy Solis about the VAs. So she has something in common with me. She's also a VA. I'm not personally, but if I were following her on Facebook and I too was married to someone, in the military family, I would connect with her post. If I see Jose's post and he's an investor, it's like, oh my God, speaking my language. That's what I want to do too. And I'm going to think of Jose every time I want to potentially end up getting into the industry of investing. So that's how you have to speak to it. So today we're going to send out this particular build your brand guide. We have some color printed copies here at the office if you want some, but it's going to be a PDF. Print it out, fill it out, and turn it in by Thursday, ideally, or by Friday afternoon, so that we can kind of take a look at it at our end, do any type of suggestions, anything that you're really like confused about or not sure, ask on our chat boxes in Slack, and we can kind of help as well, kind of as a group forum. So I will be creating a channel in Slack, which is for anyone who is attending the boot camp, for the 12-week boot camp. This is just one of those things that for sure you really have to spend some time and some creativity on it and just get it going, because this is the reason why people are hiring you. And it goes back to, it is your brand. So one last question for you, Tristan. How important it's like a super vague question, so I apologize in advance, but how super important is it to post and really attract clientele from social media? I think it's one of those things that some of us, including myself, kind of think of it as optional, or it's just like something I'm not really into, or I don't want to share about me. I mean, overall, I kind of have people like Robert Telnai, example, one of our top producing agents, sold 30 homes last year, sold $17 million of real estate. He has a podcast that's on our Facebook group, and he recently did kind of a little workshop not too long ago, and he kind of shared some of the students. But he comes out and he's raw and he's organic and says, I really hate doing it. I don't enjoy it. I don't love it. And I would like never think that, because when you see him and you follow him on Facebook, he advertises, he mixes in who he is, kind of like everything that Tristan went through. He advertises his listings, he advertises his closings, and it's all so organic. And he time blocks activities to ensure that he holds himself accountable to ensure that. And that's what attracts his clientele to him. He's gone to the point where he's invested tons of time in educating himself on how to do this process. And that's where Tristan Horn comes into case. He's one of those tools in your toolboxes in the brokerage that you have at your disposal to kind of help you get comfortable, but honestly, truly to understand and embrace the fact that social media is definitely, I don't want to use the word required, because there are some agents who are very successful that don't do it. But if most of us, if we're brand new, if we're launching our career and we're igniting it, social media is one of those that you do heavily have to rely on, unless you have a whole other pillar. And that's where you want to partner up with your success manager or Alan himself, who you see kind of walking around, so that they can kind of help you perfect that. But I think most everyone on this call for sure is like, social media is one of those areas that I'm going to improve and really ensure I'm following the best process. This is like the beginner's 101 on where to start, or if you're reigniting what you've done and it hasn't been working. So back to your question, fully loaded question, Tristan, how important is social media right now for real estate agents to really bump up and improve their career and generate leads and attention from buyers and sellers?
Yeah, well, I think there's just a huge shift nowadays when it comes to stuff like back in the days, I mean, it's still a thing now, but the best way to get business was to, go to marketing events, or go to events, meet a bunch of people. And, when you really grasp the concept that you guys can reach hundreds or thousands of people without even being there, or on autopilot, or ways that we now have the ability to show ourselves, showcase our services, showcase, our authority on autopilot if we're scheduling content out and we're reaching, a bunch of our friends. And, maybe it is only like 3% right now, but there's tools also that you can leverage. And let's say you have 1,000 friends and you're reaching 3% of them. You do one post and you have 30 people looking at it, usually you used to not be able to do that. And, let's say it's an agent tip and maybe out of those 30 people, one person sees value out of it. It's just a very powerful tool that you can, eventually go in, you can even retarget them, but you can stay in front of people like you never have been able to before. Everyone's on their phones, everyone's on social media, and it's just such a fast way to scale once you've actually had the patience and, the consistency of doing it over time. So really think about this as a huge networking event at all times. This is your playground for your real estate business. This is your chance to showcase who you are on there. It's more than, you seeing what everyone else is doing. Start focusing on producing content instead of consuming content, leverage those things. And yeah, I think that every agent should be doing it. I know that not everyone needs it as a pillar, but it's just a really good tool right now, because it's the fastest way to reach people at such a fast rate. Another thing, kind of, piggybacking off of what you said, Melissa, is the process of people doing business with you. People want to know you first. They need to know who you are. They need to like who you are, and then they have to trust you in order to, to start doing business, to start getting referrals and things such as that. And you guys have the ability to do this all through just posting. So I think it's a very neat time, and I think that everyone should be leveraging that and just making sure that you're posting consistently for that case. Also, I also heard something too, if any of you guys are like struggling with posting, like, or you don't want to post or anything, I heard this quote, and it's not their job to remember that you're a real estate agent or who you are as a person. It's your job to remind them. So, keep that in mind too when it comes to your social media, because, when you're doing this stuff, people will remember. If you're posting 3 to 4 times a week, when they start engaging in your stuff, liking, you're commenting back on their comments, it puts your content in front of them more. It starts bumping you up on their algorithm. And these people are going to start seeing your stuff more and more and more. And I promise you guys, if you're consistent with it, it'll pay off.
All right. Thank you, Tristan. Those are some juicy words he just said right there. Producing content, all of that. I just wrote it down, so I'm gonna look at my screen and scratch real quick. But essentially, like Tristan said in the beginning of today's boot camp, you are building a house from scratch. It's like an empty canvas. Imagine a new build. The way I see it is like when you launch a business, Best Homes Real Estate is your business partner. So essentially, you always want to start with, what's my mission statement? It's like open a business 101 type of concept, and that's what it comes down to on what we covered today. So the challenge for today is to fill out this particular work group, turn it into melissa@besthomesrealestate.com. I will be emailing you all a copy so that in turn we can kind of fill it out together. If you need to schedule a meeting with Tristan, please email Tristan@besthomesrealestate.com for that consultation. That consultation is key if anyone hasn't really taken advantage or it went array. Sometimes I meet with Tristan and I was like, my goal is to go this and this, and then we went into CRM talk or something. So let's go back and revisit some of these conversations because it's really critical. Like right now, overall, if you meet with the best way to kind of fill some of these is to meet with someone who knows you the best, whether it be a partner, whether it be a best friend, a sibling, your own kids. Like, utilize some of these people because they'll tell you, they're like, really? Is that how people see me? And then that's how people do read you across from social media. So it goes back to going back to your social media, maybe refreshing some pictures, deleting some old pictures, and going over what exactly is your brand, because that's what's getting showcased to the people. You are networking all day in this free platform of social media, and utilize what is available to you for that. So before we let the group go, any questions for Tristan? Doesn't have to be about branding, but we have someone on right now that can really cover lead generation, CRM, branding. But any questions? All right, so he kind of left you off with some people to follow. I would suggest looking at Eric Brown, Robert Tolnai. Those would be some agents to follow on Facebook. Susan Oliveira is another one. and Virginia Stewart. So I personally love to follow people who I can relate to. Like, as much as I love Kenneth Cono, you know, he is amazing. He does a lot of things. He makes a lot of money in Airbnbs and social media. A lot of his leads that he's generated is just more, you know, it's like I can barely like sometimes get up and do my hair. You know, it's one of those things where I want to find a busy mom who sometimes can relate to some of my struggles. So that's where find those people too who want to do the same thing and are able to do it, and then get to the point where you want to be where you desire. So if I want to desire to be like, I think Jose would be a good one to follow with Kenneth Cano. He's like, he started as a brand new agent, got into cold calling and doing this, and then he went into being the best at listings, and then he went into Airbnb, and 90% of his income, which is the high numbers up there, is all about Airbnb. So it's like hands down, Jose, follow Kenneth Cano. Melissa, follow Susan Oliveira, single mom, 2 kids. She was able to become part-time to full-time and is a top producing agent. She sold 4 houses last month. Same thing with Virginia Stewart. Robert Tonai's a dad. He has 2 kids, a wife. He travels a lot. He sells tons of homes. So that's where you want to organically follow and get inspired by people that are within your own brokerage. And we are more than happy to share these stories. There's Felix Sandoval, one of our agents. He is 64 years old, loud and proud. He's one of our top producing agents. He sold one of his first $1 million list to $2.5 million listings in his entire career, and it was due to video that he did with Tristan. It doesn't have to be like all jazzed up with little things popping up. It just has to be a really nice organic video, and you share it online. And he was able to generate not just that listing, but now he has 2 other multi-million-dollar listings that came from that sale, which in turn was all due to a video. He kind of has to push himself out of his comfort zone. He doesn't post like daily, and he's not like, you know, he kind of needs help with just the intricacy of social media, but that just shows you someone at a whole other scale of where you can go to people who are like really consistent and, you know, can work through any app in the world, to some people who are just like, what do I have to do just to really get my brand out there? And when you look up Felix Sandoval, you can see what his brand is and how he's able to help you as a buyer or seller. And that's in turn what you're going to be able to do, and try to do it within the next 30 days. But the form this week, we're getting it done, but try to really get feedback from others, so that in turn you can get leads from people just going and sharing your Facebook page. But I think, Tristan, you wanted to add one more thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just going to say, kind of going off of the video of Felix. So that video wasn't even how to sell $1 million homes or anything. It was literally just an update of the new construction that they're going to be doing in the Metro Center area. So I thought that was very unique. You know, he was just kind of showing himself as an authority, that he knew what was going up, you know, what kind of buildings, what kind of stuff was going on. And the person watched the video because they found it interesting. And they remembered that he was an agent. You know, he worked with them, like, I think previously, but they remembered because of that video. They said, like, hey, I saw your video and I need to sell my home. So, you know, you never know which content's going to touch people. And, you know, just making yourself that authority is really what's going to make you win in the end.
All right, all. Well, we'll leave you out to your busy day. Thank you so much for attending today's boot camp. Next week at 11 a.m., we will be covering on how to write a clean offer with David Roney, our designated broker. And it's just not a matter of writing offer 101, but kind of a gist and a preview of how offers are getting accepted today. Even if you're not writing any offers or haven't written any offers, it's a great contract. Or maybe we had agents who are writing tons of offers and none of them are getting accepted. And then they have a one-on-one or a quick little phone call with David or Alan or their success manager or peer. And it comes down to some very basic things. So that is what we'll be covering next week at 11 a.m. But tomorrow, quick little plug on Tristan's workshop. It is going to be on how to rank on Google. So that's just another social media world, lead gen. But tomorrow, 10 a.m. via Zoom, click on the link tree to attend that particular workshop. But we haven't done a workshop on that. So for anyone out there, it is going to be a really good workshop to kind of get comfortable with on how to rank in Google. But enjoy your Tuesday. Thank you all so much for your time. And I look forward to getting all of your brand workbooks completed. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.